certainly provides us with the excitement that the system is there, and it's extraordinarily significant. This could potentially be the game changer for the company.
Well, hello, welcome to Assay TV. Today, I'm delighted to be joined by Sam Lee, who is President and CEO of NorthIsle Copper and Gold. NorthIsle have a large land holding, the North Island project, located at the north end of Vancouver Island. Sam, great to see you today. Fresh back in from New York, I believe. Start things off. I mean, you've had some very exciting drill results recently, which we'll get into. But just want to sort of set the scene for our viewers there. If you could just give us a sort of description of your land holdings there on Vancouver Island and the key sort of targets you're after.
You bet, Leo. Thanks very much for having me. Pleasure to be speaking about NorthIsle Copper and Gold with you and your audience. So NorthIsle has a very large copper and gold porphyry on the northern end of Vancouver Island in British Columbia, Canada. Our project boasts approximately 5 billion pounds of copper equivalent in indicated resources, which represents essentially a 62% copper distribution and a 33% gold distribution by revenue, as defined by our preliminary economic assessment that we released last year. This PEA boasts a mine life of about 22 years. Copper, gold, moly, and rhenium are the products. It's approximately about $1.1 billion after-tax NPV, 8%, and a 19% IRR after tax at a $3.25 copper. It's worth noting that every 25-cent movement in copper increases the project economics by about $300 million. So our project, as defined in the PEA, is a composition of an asset called Hushamu and Red Dog. Hushamu and Red Dog are approximately 7 kilometers away from each other and approximately 25 kilometers away from the historical BHP Island copper mine. So we essentially hold that entire 50-kilometer district, porphyry district, starting from BHP's Island copper mine. And the geological signatures are all very, very similar to that project. That project produced for 24 years, copper, moly, gold, and rhenium, pretty much the same size, same scale as what we are considering today. A lot of that infrastructure still remains. We've got paved access roads that go into our project, only about a 30 to 40-minute drive, depending on which side of our project you're driving towards. We've got Port Hardy, which is only, again, about a 20 to 30-minute drive away from our project, so no need for a camp. We've got power, hydroelectric, which is the predominant source of power in British Columbia, of 2 substations, just again, only about 20 kilometers away from where we are. And of course, we've got one of BC's largest wind farm just to the north of us. So it sets a beautiful landscape set within a landscape, and certainly a platform to exploit this project. We also have one of the largest, the closest deep sea water ports from continental America to Japan, which is where BHP shipped its copper and moly concentrate to Sumitomo. So that's the project. But what I think we're here today to talk about is some of the drilling and exploration that we've advanced over the last few years. And certainly this is all underpinned by the project, because a number of these targets that we're focusing on are only just a mere few kilometers away from our project. We released some exciting infill drilling the other day on Hushamu. We also released some drilling on our Northwest Expo target, which is a target that's only about 3 kilometers away from our project. We also last year were very active on an area called Pemberton Hills, which is an area that is of significant geological structures with a 6.5 by 1.5 kilometer lithocap that hopefully is capping what we think is a very significant porphyry system. So that was a project that was joint ventured with Freeport, who obviously understood the significance of this system and our entire land package over 50 kilometers. We also did some drilling around Macintosh, which is just adjacent to Hushamu. We've got some really exciting targets around Goodspeed, as well as other areas surrounding Red Dog. So all in all, this is really, again, across this 50-kilometer porphyry district, a very exciting time to be increasing what we currently have as part of our North Island project.
I mean, if we go back to some of the numbers that you've been finding, at Hushamu, you were doing some infill drilling there. You've had some holes back, but you've still got some assays pending. Yeah? What were those holes showing? What sort of figures were you getting out of there?
Yeah, so just to step back on Hushamu, so the objective here is our project is approximately 600 million tons of mineable resources. That's of essentially a pit-constrained area that's derived from over 900 million tons of our global resources, most of which starts at Hushamu. So we need to convert approximately 70 million tons to get to that 600 million ton threshold. So a number of the drills that we released are infill. However, they're infill in an area that has historically not been drilled out. And so we focused on an area that is initially we know is a very high-grade zone, a high-grade zone that BHP had originally discovered and considered as part of trucking that ore to their mill. And then we essentially targeted out towards the west, where we saw a precipitous drop in the grade towards the edge of the the west side of the pit. And so the holes that we released just recently, the 2021 holes, intercepted above 0.81% copper equivalent over 63 meters and approximately 0.67% copper equivalent over 142 meters. So this is significantly above the average grade of the Hushamu pit, which we obviously think is significant because it really does show us evidence that we have the opportunity to expand the pit shell, not only through tonnage, but also through grade. So we're also waiting on a number of results, 6 holes to be exact, from this area. But the idea, again, is to show that the extension of this higher grade zone is actually much closer to the west side of the pit, and perhaps also goes down to depth in addition to towards the west.
So in addition to upgrading your resources there, you're also potentially adding resources to it.
That's the plan, yes.
Yeah, and at Northwest Expo, I mean, that's going to be more the focus going forward. Yeah, you've got some exciting results coming out there.
Yeah, so as I mentioned, it's only about 3 kilometers away from the northern end of our project, along an already existing road, and so certainly a project that can be contemplated to be obviously additive to the current 22-year mine life as defined in the PEA, or even something, if depending on how much we find, can be good enough to bring the infrastructure over to that side of the project, thereby potentially also decreasing the capital intensity of the project going forward. So there's a lot of options that we have, and it's all going to be predicated on defining an additional resource, which we have set out to do for 2022. So the drilling that we had released back in January and then subsequently had formed our goals and plans for 2022 consisted of approximately 1.2 grams per ton gold equivalent over a 90 meter depth, 90 meter thickness. So think of this as a gold enriched zone in the copper porphyry. And these grades that we're seeing are well over 2 to 3 times higher than what we currently have in our current resource base. And certainly from a gold perspective, it is a higher grade gold grade than what you would typically see in a larger copper porphyry system such as ours. So through the drilling, we've been able to define a kind of a 480 meter strike length by 360 meter dip length with an average width of approximately 86 meters open in multiple directions. So, that to us is our goal for 2022, is to define that envelope. It's approximately 40 to 50 million tons of the grades that I've been talking about, between 1 to 1.2 grams per ton in gold equivalent, or thinking about it from a copper basis, because this is a copper porphyry system we're talking about. It's approximately 0.9 to 1% copper equivalent across those intervals.
So how many meters and how many holes are you sort of aiming for this year?
So this year on Northwest Expo, to get to our initial resource, we're looking to drill approximately 3,000 meters at Northwest Expo. We are looking to, for our complete Hushamu program, we're looking to drill 24,000 meters to get to that 600 million ton level of indicated resources. And then, of course, at Pemberton Hills, our next step is, because we believe very strongly through the work that ourselves in Freeport conducted over the past 3 years, that this system is tilted towards the valley, where we, at this point, are reasonably confident the porphyry is underlying the lithocap. Just to imagine this system in itself, this is effectively a 6.5 kilometer by 1.5 kilometer lithocap. We did drilling on it last year. There has been historical drilling on it in the past, and in total we've drilled about approximately eight holes. There has been an intercept of a copper mineralization, so we do know that the system is mineralized with copper. I guess the enormity of it all is that the lithocap itself and what we drilled last year was over 1 kilometer deep. So this is obviously in barren materials, so somewhat disappointing, but it certainly provides us with the excitement that the system is there, and it's extraordinarily significant. This could potentially be the game changer for the company. I think there's a lot of recognition that you've got many examples out there, Filo and Jose Maria and all these other larger projects that without this type of attention and drilling for these kind of higher risk, higher reward opportunities, without actually doing the work, it sometimes people pay for mystery rather than history, if you will. So I think our focus on Pemberton Hills this year is to conduct IP in the valley to enhance our thesis that this system is tilted, and the possibility of being able to intersect the porphyry source at a lower part of the system, thereby essentially cropping off that kind of 700, 800, 900 meters of the barren lithocap. So that's our program for Pemberton Hills. And then on top of that, we are going to obviously continue on our surface exploration work around Goodspeed and Macintosh concurrently with IP on the northern end of Red Dog, Northwest Expo as well.
A busy year ahead. I mean, let's get on to how you're planning to pay for all of this. But you've just announced a successful capital raise, which you upscaled, I think, from sort of 5.5 million to 7 million. Some supportive shareholders there, yeah?
Yeah, I think the focus for the capital raise this year was obviously to ensure that we are going into our drilling season fully financed. This pro forma would give us a pro forma capitalization of over $11 million. In total with a raise that we did last December. So I think that from a balance sheet perspective, we're certainly in good stead. But I think the other significance of this was that we introduced some really key institutional shareholders that have varying interests around which part of the story they like. I think everyone loves the fact that this company is underpinned by $1 billion project, NPV 8. This is something that gives them confidence that perhaps we can have some leeway as it relates to our enthusiasm expression around exploration, because it's underpinned by a very substantial project in itself today. And so that's given us the ability to attract some really strong institutional shareholders as part of this offering. It also was an offering that allowed us to access what is called a flow-through offering with an additional critical metals premium credit that was just established by the government of Canada in its April budget. So we certainly saw some attractive pricing as it related to that, thereby minimizing dilution.
Absolutely. So the government being very supportive there for anyone digging up critical minerals, and copper being one of those, the most critical minerals at the moment. Yeah,
that's right. And I think this is kind of validation that, regardless of how aspirational you believe the electrification or net carbon neutrality, net zero carbon narrative motif is, the ship has kind of sailed, right? So we've got governments, we've got jurisdictions around the world, we've got incumbents around the world that have aspirationally set that as their goals. And you cannot absolutely do that without copper. And that's why you see Goldman Sachs continually, calling for 8 to 10 million deficit by 2030. Just to put that in perspective, 8 million to 10 million ton deficit, that's 8 to 10 of the largest mines in the world, the Escondidas of the world, that not only need to come online in the next 8 years, but they need to be found. Right. So Escondida obviously started at 3+% copper. Those projects have not been found in the last decade. And as you know, it'll take, 15 years for a project to go from cradle to production in order to come online. So really, there's no doubt in my mind that projects such as ours, a good copper porphyry, material copper porphyry with a strong gold component, is absolutely critical, not only as it relates to the electrification and net carbon neutrality narrative, but also critical in terms of being able to provide for this incredible deficit that everyone seems to be calling for in the next 8 years.
Absolutely. Well, we won't keep take any more of your time, as you've got some copper to find and your mine to build. But thank you very much for joining us today for that update on NorthIsle Copper and Gold.
My pleasure, Leo. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Sam.